In July 2026, a highly public feud broke out on social media. Elon Musk revived his favorite nickname for the CEO of OpenAI, calling him Scam Altman. Sam Altman immediately fired back, criticizing Musk's investment in space data centers. This petty online squabble overshadowed a much larger corporate milestone. Just weeks earlier, OpenAI filed confidentially for an initial public offering. The artificial intelligence company is targeting a valuation exceeding $1 trillion. It is the culmination of a decade-long rise for Sam Altman. But behind the trillion-dollar ambition lies a persistent trail of corporate controversy. Altman has long presented himself as a humble guide to our technological future. He famously claims to work for a salary of $65,000. He has repeatedly assured the public that he holds no direct equity in OpenAI. Yet, court filings and corporate records paint a very different picture. These documents reveal an intricate, multi-billion-dollar network of personal investments. Many of his personal holdings directly intersect with the commercial deals of OpenAI. This is not a story about a single mistake or lapse in judgment. It is a story about a repeating pattern of behavior. That pattern began long before the founding of OpenAI. In March 2012, a mobile location startup called Looped was sold. Green Dot acquired the struggling company for $43.4 million. Inside Silicon Valley, the sale was seen as a face-saving exit. Looped employees had twice gone to the board to demand Altman's firing. They cited what they described as chaotic and deceptive leadership. The board ultimately rejected the employees' demands to fire Altman, but the internal friction crippled the company's long-term growth prospects. The acquisition by Green Dot was seen as a quiet exit, and it established a precedent of survival under executive pressure. Despite this, Altman soon landed a prestigious role running Y Combinator, but his tenure at the startup accelerator ended in a quiet ouster. In March 2019, the co-founders presented Altman with an ultimatum. Paul Graham and Jessica Livingston told him he had to choose. He could either run Y Combinator or focus on his side project, OpenAI. Altman was eased out of the prestigious accelerator shortly after. Paul Graham had initially championed Altman as a brilliant young leader, but Altman's growing side projects began to consume his attention. His focus shifted entirely to a new, ambitious research laboratory. That laboratory was founded as a nonprofit called OpenAI. Its original mission was to build artificial intelligence for everyone. The founders promised to share their research openly with the world. Altman began taking this new entity public-facing with a unique marketing strategy. On May 16, 2023, Altman testified before a Senate subcommittee. He assured lawmakers he had no financial stake in the company. Altman told Congress he was doing this simply because he loved it. But at that very moment, SEC filings showed he owned the venture fund. Altman held 75% legal ownership of the OpenAI startup fund. That fund was valued at $175 million. Public pressure eventually forced him to relinquish control in April 2024. Control of the fund was officially handed over to Ian Hathaway. But why did Altman own the fund in the first place? For years, OpenAI claimed its venture fund was standard practice. Yet, having the chief executive legally own the fund was highly unusual. It created a direct conflict of interest that went unaddressed, but the tension between his public words and private actions kept growing. In November 2023, the OpenAI board suddenly fired Altman. Directors stated publicly that Altman was not consistently candid with them. Former board members Helen Toner and Tasha McCauley later explained their decision. They cited long-standing patterns of lying and psychological manipulation. But the board underestimated Altman's influence over his workforce. 95% of OpenAI's 700 employees threatened to quit. Microsoft, which backed the company, pressured the board to back down. Within 5 days, Altman was reinstated as chief executive officer. The independent board members who opposed him were quickly pushed out. In their place, Altman brought in allies to oversee the company. Brett Taylor became the new chairman of the board of directors. The new board structure favored commercial growth over safety oversight. This paved the way for more aggressive product deployments. But the push for rapid deployment soon created new friction. In May 2024, OpenAI demonstrated its new model, GPT-4o. The showcase featured a voice assistant named Sky. Sky sounded almost identical to the famous actress Scarlett Johansson. On the day of the launch, Altman tweeted a single word, her. It was a clear reference to the sci-fi film about an AI companion. 1 week later, Johansson released an angry public statement. She revealed that Altman had approached her twice to license her voice. She had declined both offers, the last one days before the launch. Johansson was shocked to find her voice cloned without her consent. OpenAI quickly paused the Sky voice, but the damage was done. The incident highlighted a cultural shift inside the artificial intelligence leader. Just 1 day after the launch, chief scientist Ilya Sutskever resigned. Supper Alignment co-lead Jan Leke quit the company alongside him. Like publicly warned that safety culture had taken a backseat. He stated that shiny products had become the company's sole priority. Days later, Altman's management dissolved the entire super-alignment safety team. The departure of concerned researchers was accompanied by severe legal threats. Investigative journalists at Vox uncovered a highly restrictive, non-disparagement policy. Departing employees were forced to sign agreements to keep their vested equity. If they refused, the company could claw back millions of dollars. Altman publicly claimed he had no idea this policy even existed, but Vox published internal documents from April 2023. The paperwork clearly showed Altman's signature authorizing the aggressive clawbacks. While silencing former employees, Altman was expanding his private investment network. During a federal trial in May 2026, the details emerged. Elon Musk had sued Altman for abandoning the original non-profit mission. Though a jury dismissed the lawsuit, court exhibits exposed Altman's assets. Forbes estimated Altman's personal wealth at over $4 billion. More than $2 billion was held in adjacent business partners. Take Helion Energy, a nuclear fusion startup where Altman owns 1/3. His stake was valued at $1.65 billion. By June 2026, Helion's valuation tripled to $15.5 billion. Meanwhile, OpenAI was actively negotiating a multi-billion-dollar power purchase agreement with Helion. Helion plans to deliver commercial fusion power within this decade. But fusion power has long been considered decades away from viability. This didn't stop OpenAI from signing a major purchase agreement. The deal guarantees that OpenAI will buy power from Helion's future plants. Then there is the payment processing giant, Stripe. Altman holds a $632 million stake in Stripe. OpenAI selected Stripe to monetize its popular ChatGPT services. Another notable investment involves a longevity firm called Retro Biosciences. Altman personally seeded the biotech startup with $180 million. His personal stake in the firm is valued at $258 million. The investments also extended to advanced hardware developers. Altman invested over $1 million in a chip startup, Rain AI. OpenAI then signed a $51 million deal to purchase their chips. In December 2025, OpenAI signed another compute deal. They agreed to buy 750 megawatts of capacity from Cerebras. Altman holds a personal $3 million stake in Cerebras. These overlapping deals raise significant questions about conflicts of interest, but the commercial engine continued to run at full speed. In October 2025, OpenAI completed its core corporate restructuring. The business converted into a for-profit public benefit corporation. This transition valued the newly formed OpenAI group at $500 billion. Microsoft secured a 27% equity stake in the restructured entity. That stake was worth roughly $135 billion. The nonprofit foundation was left with a 26% stake. The move stripped the original nonprofit of direct operational control. Financially, the company is operating on an immense scale. It generated $13.1 billion in revenue in 2025, yet high compute costs led to a loss of $9 billion. Cumulative losses are projected to reach $74 billion by 2028. To fund this growth, safety guardrails were further dismantled. In February 2026, the company quietly disbanded its mission alignment team. This move completely ended dedicated, centralized research into long-term safety. Instead, resources are focused on driving commercial expansion. This commercial drive extends far beyond artificial intelligence models. Altman also co-founded WorldCoin, a global cryptocurrency project. WorldCoin uses physical orb devices to scan human irises. It offers digital tokens in exchange for biometric data. The project heavily targeted low-income populations in developing nations. The project operated under a parent company called Tools for Humanity. It promised to build a global financial network for the AI era, but critics accused the project of exploiting vulnerable communities for data. The scans occurred in crowded markets, universities, and public squares, but it quickly faced severe blowback from international regulators. 8 major jurisdictions have banned or restricted its operations. These include Germany, Spain, Kenya, Brazil, and Hong Kong. Regulators cited severe privacy violations and potential exploitation. Yet WorldCoin continued its efforts under rebranded operations. Looking back over 14 years, a clear picture emerges. Individually, each corporate scandal can be explained away as startup friction. The Loop departure, the Y Combinator exit, the OpenAI firing, the cloned voice, the secret NDAs, the personal investments. But taken together, they reveal a consistent, calculated strategy. Altman excels at using public interest frameworks framing to build powerful institutions. He promises democratic access, safety, and a shared human future. But once control is secured, the original guardrails are stripped away. The nonprofit mission becomes a closed, for-profit monopoly, and the humble servant of humanity becomes a multi-billionaire as OpenAI marches toward its trillion-dollar initial public offering. The public is left to wonder who this technology really serves. It seems the pattern of Sam Altman's career has finally become clear.